gentlemen, students and scholars, teachers and trainers, professors and professionals, listeners and learners, those who are listening from the field of science, religion, spirituality, arts, commerce and engineering. It is really nice time, nice place, nice section you are listening. With 100% presence and of mind, I Dr. Rakesh from USA, the present Prime Minister Dr. Narendra Modi ji, respected ministers and doctors, reverend fathers and mothers, affectionate sons and daughters, advocates, advertisers, administrators. Truly it is really nice time. We are listening the truth of science and spirituality. Our Indian land is the land of festivals, land of colors. So we are known as multicultural and multicolored land of India. Multifaceted, multi-sided Indian nation, which is our great throughout the world, that our Indians celebrate as a wonderful place on this earth. Multicultural and multicolored society. We have different festivals at the different days. Every festival, every day is new day, has its own importance for the celebrations. So there is no question of depression, frustration and anxiety, sorrows. We have varieties, diversities, adversities in the different fields of our nation. So we are to be satisfied and we are to be unsatisfied for doing better, nicer, finer, greater for our nation and society, for our futuristic generation. We are to provide national heritage. We are to provide spiritual, social standard of values among the worldly nations. So dear friends, now we are studying Basant Panchami. Why do we celebrate this function? Sometimes we celebrate only just because of the people, for the sake of company. We celebrate different type of kitty parties, marriage functions, anniversaries. But these are the national festivals of our nation that we celebrate every day, and every day has festival, has a great history behind them. But sometimes we think that we don't have time for them. It is our unforgetfulness. So we are to remember and record in our mind the beauty of our festivals. Our festivals are really beautiful, wonderful, majestic, magical, because these festivals give us, provide us, impart us newness and new energy in our human mind, heart, and spiritually makes our nation stronger, nicer, finer and better. Basant Panchami heralds the advent of spring and is dedicated to Goddess Saraswati. This festival marks the first day of spring. Vasant means the spring. The fields are mustard yellow with the ripening of crops. Yellow is an auspicious color, a color of spirituality, Basant Panchami falls on the 5th day of the bright whole of Magh, January to Feb. Saraswati is the consort of Lord Brahma and is the goddess of wisdom and knowledge. She is the personification of knowledge, arts, science and crafts. She represents Shakti, creativity and inspiration, and parents herself when the weather is complacent and nature is in its full grandeur. It is a season of inspiration and passion, celebrations. The most significant aspect of this day is that reading and writing their first words on this day, as it is considered an auspicious day to begin a child's education. Educational institutions organize special prayers for Saraswati this day. Saintly people and people inclined towards spiritual progress attach great importance to the worship of Goddess Saraswati. As a practice, educated people and men of principle worship Goddess Saraswati for spiritual enlightenment. In their opinion, there can be no comparison between the king and the learned or the spiritually advanced. They believe that the king is honored within his kingdom, whereas the learned are respected or worshipped throughout the world. Rituals. There are various rituals that are followed in the worshipping of Goddess Saraswati. The one common ritual followed by all the worshippers is that the idol of the goddess is clothed in white. The other predominant color in the celebrations being yellow to indicate the onset of spring and the blossoming of mustard flowers. Flowers and wild berries are offered to the goddess, and students place their books before the deity and do not do any reading or writing that day. An elaborate puja with sandalwood, ghee, joss, sticks and incense is done to the sound of slokas. Conch shells and drums, a ritual not connected to the worship but equally essential to the celebration, is that of flying kites on this day. The offerings to the goddess are mainly fruits, most significant being berries from the wild plum tree. Sweets must include puffed rice, jaggery and yogurt. The priest using special wood, ghee, joss sticks and incense does a havan. Absence of any burnt smell signifies the success of puja. A diya or lamp is also kept lit along with the bhog. A handful of flowers, particularly flame of the forest is given to each devotee to offer to the goddess as Puspanjali. The offering is done in batches of devotees who repeat mantras to the priest. The lit lamp used during the arati is passed around for each devotees and touching the heads. Nobody touches books on that day. This signifies that the goddess is blessing the books placed in front of her that day. Dear friends, why do we celebrate Holi festival? Amongst India's innumerable festivals, Holi ranks as the most colorful. It celebrates the arrival of spring and death of demoness Holika. It is a celebration of joy and hope. Holi provides a refreshing respite from the mundane norms as people from all walks of life enjoy themselves. In a tight-knit community, it also provides a good opportunity for giving a go by to any earlier unpleasantness by way of applying colors on each other and embarrassing. Holi continues to be celebrated with a great vigor throughout India. Our every place, air, fire, soil, sky and water is holy. Due to Holi, countless Hindi films have brought the vibrant colors of the festival to the screen. Indians all over the world eagerly await the festival of colors as bonfires are lit to banish the cold dark nights of winter and usher in the warmer spring. Dulhandi, day after Holi, is the actual festival of colors when everything inside is covered in a riot of colors. What's the history behind this festival? According to legend, Kashipu was a very powerful demon. In his fight against the gods, he had defeated them, and because of this, he became very egoistic and had issued an order that no one should pray to gods or even take the name of gods, particularly God Vishnu. Due to fear, people started praying him. His son Prahlad was a true devotee of God or Lord. He didn't obey his father's order. Hiranyakashipu got angry on him and ordered for the most rigorous punishments to him. But this did no harm to Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu had a sister by the name of Holika. She had been granted a boon that fire will do no harm to her. Being a noble soul, Hiranyakashipu ordered Holika to take Prahlad on her lap and sit on a bed of fire. Surprisingly, Holika was burnt in the fire and Prahlad survived with no harm done to him. As a remembrance to that event, people celebrate Holi by burning wood and pray to Goddess Holi for their well-being. The festival of Holi begins in Dvadashi, the 12th day of the waxing moon in the month of Falgun. Spirits run high as the preparations for the festivities begin. As a custom, mothers make new clothes for their married daughters. Colored powder is bought and prepared. Long syringes called pichkaris are made. Pichkaris are made ready. Water balloons are bought and filled. Are made to cook special food items that are exclusively meant for this festival. Twin towns of Nandagaon, where Lord Krishna grew up, and Barsana, where Radha grew up, near Mathura, are the epicenter of the celebrations. Lord Krishna while growing up in Nandagaon, popularized the festival with his ingenious pranks. Gopis responded with equal enthusiasm, and the festivities have continued ever since. Role reversal, feminism, etc. are accepted customs for the duration of the festival. Man and woman clash in a colorful display of battle of sexes. Celebrations start here week earlier than in rest of India. Men of Nandigaon raid Barsana with hopes of raising their flag over Radhika temple. They receive a thunderous welcome as the women of Baranas greet them with long wooden sticks. The men are soundly beaten as they attempt to rush through the town to reach the relative safety of Radhika's temple. Men and well padded as they are not allowed to retaliate. In this smoke battle, men are their best. Men try their best not to be captured. Unlucky captivities can be forcibly led away, pressed and dressed in female attire before being made to dance. The festival moves on to other parts of Varas. Soon enough it is Dulhandi and entire India celebrate the joys of spring as the festival of color, full of colors. The colorful festival is celebrated in most parts of India during February to March in the month of Falgun according to the Hindu calendar. The celebrations vary depending on the region and local traditions, but the common element is exchange of colors. Celebrations. It is observed on the full moon night of Falgun. It marks the end of winter and the advent of spring season. It is a 2-day festival. On the first night, a bonfire is lighted in the evening or at night, and people circumambulate it, which is known as Pradakshina. Children make merry, women folk and men sing in gay abandon to the accompaniment of cymbals and drums. In this fun-filled atmosphere, people play practical jokes on one another. The next day, people amuse themselves by splashing colored water and throwing colored powder on their friends. Relatives, neighbors, and even passers-by. Noisy and colorful processions are taken out through the streets. Among us, the elite, it is characterized by songs, music, floral decoration, and flashing of perfumed water. Sweets and visits are exchanged, and cold drinks prepared at home are served liberally. Enmity and embrace each other with warmth and love and renew their friendship. On this day, people bake and eat new corn for first time in the season. In Bengal, Holi is celebrated as Dol Purnima. This festival dedicated to Shri Krishna. On this auspicious day, an image of Krishna richly and be smeared with colored powder, is taken out in procession in a swinging palanquin decorated with flowers, leaves, colored clothes and papers. The procession proceeds towards to the accompaniment of music, blaring of conch shells, trumpets, shouts of Zay, victory. Dol Purnima becomes all the more significant for Bengalis because this is also a birthday of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 1485 to 1533 AD. He was a great Vaishnava saint who popularized modern Sankirtana. He elevated the passion of Radha and Krishna to a high spiritual plane. He underlined emotion at the cost of the ceremonial side of devotion. Flowers of Chaitanya school of Vaishnavism believe Chaitanya to be the manifestation of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu believed that the essence of sadhana is always the loving remembrance of Hari. So dear brothers, sisters, friends, you are listening, learning that every festival of our India has the spiritual significance. There is every day we celebrate in the form of celebration for doing meditation, which is the superb, matchless lesson and example provided by our holy festivals. Dear brothers and sisters, we celebrate Lodi festival. What's the history behind it? What's the history behind celebrating the festival Lodi? The history of Lodi, a seasonal festival of North India, is as old as that of the Indus Valley civilization itself. The festival of Lodi marks the beginning. It marks the beginning of the end of the winter and the coming of spring and the new year. The fires lit at night, the hand warming, the song and dance, and the coming together of an otherwise atomized community are only some of the features of this festival. The Lodi of North India coincides with Pongal in Tamil Nadu, Makar Sankranti in Bengal, Mega Bihu in Assam, Taj Pongal in Kerala. All are celebrated on the same auspicious day. What a wonderful days of the new year we celebrate with this festival. Really it has a great importance of spirituality. There are some interesting socio-cultural folk legends connected with Lodi. According to the cultural history of Punjab, Bhatti, a Rajput tribe during the reign of Akbar, inhabited northeastern regions. Dulla Patiwala, Raja of one region called Pindi Bhatia, was put to death by Mughal king for revolting against him. The tribal Mirasis street singers trace the history of the tribe and interestingly claim Maharaja Ranjit Singh as one of its one of its sky sons, Dulabati, Robin Hood, robbed the rich and gave to the poor. The people of the area loved and respected him. He once rescued a girl from kidnappers and adopted her as his daughter. His people would remember their hero every year on Lodi. Groups of children moved from door to door singing the Dullapati wala folk song. Dullapati ho Dulla, Dulle ne tivai ho. Sher Shakkar Pav ho. So these are the beautiful moments, vibrations of our festivals of spirituality. Some believe that Lodi has derived its name from Lohi, the wife of Saint Kabir. For in rural Punjab, Lodi is pronounced as Lohi. Others believe that Lodi comes from the word lo, a thick iron sheet, tawa, used for baking chapatis for community feast. Another legend says that Holika and Lori were sisters. While the former perished in the holy fire, the latter survived, eating of till, sesame seeds and jaggery remedies is considered to be essential on this day. Perhaps the word still and Rodi must to become Tilori, which eventually got shortened to Lori. Lori is essentially a festival described to the gods of fire, gods of fire, and the sun god. It is the time when the sun transits the zodiac sign Makar, Capricorn, and moves towards the north. In astrological terms, this is referred to as the sun becoming Uttarayan. The new configuration lessens the velocity of winter and brings warmth to earth. It is to ward off the bitter chill of the month of January that people light bonfires, dance around it in a mood of bonhomie, and celebrate Lori. Dear brothers, sisters, friends, you are listening. Very important concept of our Indian land. Our Indian land is the land of festivals. It has spiritual significance throughout the world. Why do we celebrate? We must know and enjoy. We should entertain every day with festivals. Fire is associated with concept of life and death. Fire is associated with the concept of life and health. Fire, like water, is a symbol of transformation and regeneration. It is the representative of the sun and is thus relating the growth of cornfields and the well-being of men and animals. It is the imitative magic purporting to assure the supply of light and height. It is also an image of energy and spiritual strength. That is why the Lori gets The Lori fires gets sanctified and is venerated like a deity. On this occasion, people offer peanuts, popcorn, and sweets made of til, chidwa, gazak, and revdi to propitiate the fire god. Lori has great social significance on Makar Sankranti, a day after the new year begins. This time is considered auspicious for marriages and to undertake new ventures. The farmer, comparatively free from his yeoman's duties, takes to fun and frolic. The golden color of the ripening corn in the fields please him. The newly weds and newborn Lori is a special occasion. Families of the bride and the groom get together and celebrate by dancing around the fire and expressing their joy. Lori is a grand event of social and cultural integration, bringing about unity, amity, harmony among different castes and communities. Makar Sankranti is one of the most auspicious days for the Hindus and is celebrated in almost all parts of the country in myriad colorful forms. With great devotion, fervour and gaiety, lakhs of people take a dip in holy places like Ganga Sagar and Prayag and pray to Lord Sun. It is celebrated with pomp in southern parts of the country as Pongal, and in Punjab it is celebrated as Lodi and Maggi. People of Gujarat not only look reverentially up to the sun but also offer thousands of their colorful oblations representing beautiful kites all over the skyline. They may be trying to reach up to their glorious God or bringing about greater proximity with the one who represents the best. It is a day for which Bhishma Pitama kept waiting to leave his mortal self. Makar Sankranti is the day when the glorious sun god of Hindus begin ascendancy and entry into the northern hemisphere. Makar Sankranti is the day when the glorious sun god of Hindu begins ascendancy and entry into the northern hemisphere. Sun for the Hindus stands for Pratyaksha Brahman, the manifestation of God, who symbolizes the one non-dual, self-effulgent, glorious divinity, blessing one and all tirelessly. Sun is the one who transcends time and also the one who rotates the proverbial wheel of the time. The famous Gayatri Mantra, which is chanted every day by faithful Hindus, is directed to Sun God to bless them with intelligence and wisdom. Sun not, sun not only represents God but also stands for an embodiment of knowledge and wisdom. Lord Krishna reveals in Gita that this manifested divinity was his first disciple, and we all know it to be indeed a worthy one too. No Sundays for the sun may be, because one who reveals in its very being the very essence of his own self is always in the Sunday mood. Astrological significance of this festival: Makar means Capricorn and Sankranti is transition. There is a Sankranti every month when the sun passes from one sign of the zodiac to the next. There are 12 signs of the zodiac, and thus there are 12 Sankranti as well. Each of these Kranti has its own relative importance, but two of these are more important: the Mesh Aries Sankranti, and the most important, the Makar Capricorn Sankranti, transition of the sun from Sagittarius to Capricorn during the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere is known as Makar Sankranti. From the day begins the next month-long Uttriyana, considered very auspicious for attaining higher worlds hereafter. While the traditional Indian calendar is primarily based on lunar positions, Sankranti is a solar event. So, while dates of all festivals keep changing, the Gregorian calendar date of Makar Sankranti is always same. 14th January, Sankranti is celebrated in the Hindu calendar month of Magha. There is another significance of this day. After this day, the days start becoming longer and warmer, and thus the chill of winter is on the decline. Religious significance. The Puranas say that on this day, sun visits the house of his son Shani, who is the son of Makar Sankranti, Makar Rishi. This father and son dua does not ordinarily get along nicely, but in spite of the difference between each other, and Lord Son makes it a point to meet the son on this day. The father, in fact, himself comes to his son's house for a month. This day symbolizes the importance of the special relationship of father and the son. It is the son who has the responsibility to carry forward his father's dream and continuity of the family. From Uttriyana starts the day of Devtas, while Dakshinayana is said to be the night of Devtas. So most of the auspicious things are done during this time. Uttriyana is also called as Devyana, and the next half is called Pitriyana. It was on this day when Lord Vishnu ended the ever increasing terrorism of the Asuras by finishing them off and burying their heads under the Mandar Parvat. So this occasion also represents the end of negativities and beginning of an era of righteous living. The great savior of his ancestors, Maharaj Bhagirath, did great tapasya to bring the holy river Gangaji down on the earth for the redemption of 60,000 sons of Maharaj Sagar who were burnt to ashes at the Kapil Muni ashram near the present day Ganga Sagar. It was on this day that Bhagirath finally did darpan with the Ganga's water for his accused ancestors and thereby liberated them from the curse. After visiting the Patala for the redemption of the curse of Bhagirath's ancestors, Gangaji finally merged in the Sagar. Even today, a very big Ganga Sagar Mela is organized every year on this day at the confluence of river Ganga and the Bay of Bengal. Larks take dip in the water and do darpan for their ancestors. Another well-known reference of this day comes from the episode of the great Grandshire and Mahabharata fame Bhishma, who he declared his intent to leave his mortal self on this day. He had the boon of Ichha Mrityu from his father, so he kept lying on the bed of arrows till this day and then left his mortal self on Makar Skranti day. It is believed that a person who dies during this period of Uttarayana becomes free from transmigration. So this day is seen as a sure shot good luck day to start a journey or endeavors for other activities. How to celebrate? Get up early in the morning, have bath and be ready with water and flowers before sunrise. Worship the rising sun by offering water and flowers with both the hands and then pray with folded hands by chanting the Gayatri mantra and pray for knowledge, wisdom of enlightenment to rise in similar way as the sun to greater and greater heights. Pray for blessings to live a dynamic, inspired and righteous life. Do darpan for your ancestors. See your ancestors in the mind's eyes and offer water to them while praying for their blessings. Resolve to live life in such a way that wherever your forefathers may be, their head is held high by the life and deeds of their children. Have a special session of meditation wherein you bring about the awareness of the greatest importance of your spiritual goal very clearly and pray to God to bless you with the capacity to constantly reveal in your true self. May you graph of your life rise like the Uttarayana sun. May there be greater love and light in your life and the world. Prepare prepare laddus or other sweets of till and good and offer them to your friends and relatives. See to it that your well-being prayer for all gets manifested in action and deeds. Have the lunch of khichdi. This stands for inculcating simplicity in your life and habits. Give some, give some dan on this day to someone who truly deserves. If you have a married son, visit him at his place and give presents to the son and the daughter-in-law. It is not possible to visit, then organize to send to them to express your love and affection for them. Work to properly cultivate the generation which has to carry forward all that you cherish and value. Mahashivratri. The festival of Mahashivratri literally means the grand night dedicated for the worship of Lord Shiva. Dear friends, every festival has its great importance for doing meditation. It is looked upon with greatest reverence and respect by the devotees of Lord Shiva. This festival is celebrated every year on the 13th, 14th day in the Krishna Paksha, waning moon fortnight just before the new moon of the month of Falgun. As per the English calendar, this is somewhere around February or March. This day, so the night is dedicated by the devotees of Lord Shiva for his worship, practice of various austerities and meditation. All the Shiva temples are fully decorated and there are hordes of devotees queuing up to get darshan of the Lord and offer their obeisance at his feet on this special day. Significance of Mahashivratri. There are several stories which are associated with this special grand night of Lord Shiva. Samudra Manthan story. During Samudra Manthan, by the gods and demons, a highly toxic poison came out of the ocean. As per the advice of Lord Vishnu, gods approached Lord Shiva and prayed him to protect life by consuming that poison. Pleased with their prayers, out of compassion for living beings, Lord Shiva drank that poison and held it in his throat by binding a knot with a snake. The throat became blue due to the poison. Thus Lord Shiva is also known as Nilkantha, and Shiva remained unharmed. The wise men advised gods to keep Lord Shiva awake during the night. To keep him awake, the gods took turns performing various dances and playing music. A vigil was thus kept by the gods in contemplation of Shiva. In contemplation of Shiva, as the day broke out, Shiva, pleased with their devotion, blessed them all and also said that whosoever worshipped and contemplated on him on this day shall be blessed with the fulfillment of him or her wishes. Since then, on this day and night, devotees observe fast, keep vigil, sing glories of Lord and meditate. Manifested as Jyotirlinga on this day. On this day, manifested the great and also the first ever effulgent Jyotirmaya form, Skandha or a pillar of fire of Lord Shiva in front of Lord Vishnu and Brahma ji. The story goes that once ego infected both Vishnu ji and Brahma ji. The result was a clash between both these gods. In order to show their respective superiority, they decided to fight it out. Lord Shiva decided to intervene so as to make them realize that there is something more to life than the powers of an embodied being. He manifested in the form of a huge pillar of fire, whose beginning and end could not be seen. Vishnuji and Brahmaji decided to check what this strange thing was and agreed that whoever returned first will be considered as supreme, while Vishnuji in the form of Varaha went down towards Patal Loka to see the end of this pillar. Brahmaji sitting on his swan and went up. Even after years of travel, they could not see the beginning or end of this manifestation. Brahmaji saw a leaf falling off and thought it fell down from the top of the pillar of fire and returned, satisfied that he had seen the starting point. They came back while Lord Vishnu accepted that he could not see the end. Brahmaji said that he had seen it, which was a lie. Lord Shiva cursed Brahmaji that no one will ever worship him. This manifestation of Lord Shiva in the form of the first effulgent linga was on the special day of Mahashivratri, and thus all devotees pray to the effulgent linga, Jyotirlinga of Lord Shiva. Reunion of Shiva and Parvati. King Daksha was opposed to his daughter Sati's marriage with Shiva at a yagna, holy sacrifice. The king ignored Shiva and thereby insulted the latter publicly. Sati was so angrily by this that she jumped into the sacrificial fire and ended her life. Lord Shiva unleashed his fury at the death of his wife by performing the violent dance Tandava. He wiped out Daksha's kingdom, undertook rigorous penance and retired to the Himalayas. The gods, who feared that the severity of Shiva's penance might bring an end to the world, revived Sati in the new avatar of Parvati. Shiva married, and this reunion is celebrated on Mahashivratri. Story of Chitrabhanu. Story of Chitrabhanu. In the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata, Bhishma, whilst resting on the bed of arrows and discounting on dharma, took the observance of Mahashivratri by the king Chitrabhanu. The story goes as follows. Once upon a time, King Chitrabhanu of the Ikshvasaki dynasty, who ruled over the whole of Jambu Dvipa, was observing a fast with the wife, is being the day of Mahashivratri. The saga Astavakra came on visit to the court of the king. The saga asked, "Oh, now king, why are you observing a fast today?" King Chitrabhanu, who had the gift of remembering the incidents of his previous birth, said to the saga, "In my past birth, I was a hunter in Varnashi. My name was Suswara. My livelihood was to kill and sell birds and animals. One day, I was roaming the forest in search of animals. I was overtaken by the darkness of night. Unable to return home, I climbed a tree for shelter. It happened to be a bell tree. I had shot a deer that day, but I had no time to take it home. I bundled it up and tied it to a branch on the tree. As I was tormented by hunger and thirst, I kept awake throughout the night. I shed profuse tears when I thought of my poor wife and children who were starving and anxiously awaiting my return to pass away the time that night. I engaged myself in plucking the bee leaves and dropping them down onto the ground. The day dawned. I returned home and sold the deer. I bought some food for myself and for my family. I was about to break my fast when a stranger came to me begging for food. I served him first and then took my food. Later, at the time of my death, I saw two messengers of Lord Shiva. They were sent down in conduct my soul to the abode of Lord Shiva. I learnt then for the first time of the great merit I had earned by the unconscious worship of Lord Shiva during the night of Shivratri. They told me that a lingam under the tree, the leaves I dropped fell on the lingam. My tears, which I had shed out of the fear, out of the pure sorrow for my family, fell into the lingam and washed it, and I had fasted all day and all night. Thus did I unconsciously worship the Lord. Lord Shiva's messengers took me to the Lord's abode, and I lived in the abode of the Lord, divine bliss for long ages. I am now reborn as Chitrabhanu. Story of Labdak. So dear friends, sisters, brothers, those who are listening, some glimpses, beauties, colors of our festivals. Indian festivals are celebrated for providing the message. Every festival, every day has the message. And the rising sun itself provides us the message of newness, humanity, oneness, equality, and beyond it, the whole natural objects, elements addresses us. Every day is the day of festival, and we really celebrate for forgetting the enmity, for removing jealousy, lies, ego, avariceness, falsification that we have inside our human body, mind, and soul. So, how we can keep control, how we can clean our mind, soul, and heart. It's the only way of meditation. By adopting method of meditation, we will remember that how the sun has energy, how the rising sun awakened us, how the setting sun provides us a great relief for the night. All these messages we get from the messenger of the Lord. The sun is the true messenger of the Lord. The moon is the true messenger of Lord at night. All the stars are messenger of the Lord at night individually. So we can learn and we can turn towards the betterment and upliftment of our nation and society. Dear brother, friends and sisters, those who are listening, truly we should feel the presence of Lord in the form of message, in the form of text message, voice message, WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, all these functions that we are being applied in our online programs. All these are launched and functionalized by our elements and objects of nature in the form of rising sun, setting sun, while the daytime sun creates different type of sessions. It provides different type of messages. It provides all type of different social media sites, Google, that we use. All these are generated, produced by the rising sun. So dear friends and sisters, those who are listening, we must prepare in our mind before rising the sun.